Hi, I'm Carrielyn, your CUNA Certified Financial Counselor here at New Dimensions Federal Credit Union.
And I'm Brett, Loan Officer for New Dimensions Federal Credit Union.
Today's edition of TealTalk is on credit. Brett, as a lender, we all hear about credit scores, credit reports. Having a good credit score is really important in life. But what is a credit report?
Really, in a nutshell, a credit report is a detailed report of an individual's credit history prepared by a credit bureau and used by a lender to determine a loan applicant's creditworthiness.
Oh, wow. So what do we find on a credit report?
So a credit report will have a history of your loans you've taken out, how long you've had them, if there's any late payments that would be reported. Say if you had any collections, that kind of stuff would go on there. And it just gives a creditor an idea of somebody's ability to repay a loan that they're applying for.
Oh, wow. So what about every time I apply for a loan? Is that going to be on there even if I don't get it approved?
Every time you inquire for credit, inquiries are reported to your credit report and stored there, and they'll typically stay on there for about 2 years.
No kidding. Wow. So what's not on a credit report?
Salary information, your debt ratio, debt to income ratio, length of your residence, marital status, and deposit account information are things that are not on your credit report, but are things that are taken into account by a lender when they are looking at your loan application, and your credit report is used in part to get some of that, like your debt to income. We will use your credit report to get a list of all your current loans and debts that are out there, and then with your pay stub, we'll combine those two to figure out what your debt to income is.
Brett, now that we know what a credit report is, what is a credit score?
A credit score is a number that represents your credit worthiness. So the higher the number, the better. Credit scores range from low of 300 to a high of 850. And they're used by all the three big credit bureaus, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. They'll vary slightly from each credit bureau, just depending on what information is reported to that credit bureau, when it's reported. Sometimes the loan will be on your TransUnion report, but not on another credit bureau. So that can change the score slightly from each credit bureau.
So who needs good credit?
So pretty much that would apply to everyone, but people just starting out that have no credit history or limited credit history, such as high school grads, college students, young adults. If you're recently immigrating to the United States and you have no credit, then it's important to build up a good credit score. But having a good credit score means you always pay lower interest than if your score was lower and you'd be financed at a higher interest rate. People who need to get back on track, so say you have a history of some late payments or collections on your credit, there's avenues where you can use loans to improve your credit score by consolidating debt or just establishing a payment history. Say you have no credit history. We could start with like a $500 loan to get some credit history started for you there.
Now that I have a credit report, who's going to look at it?
So lenders such as us, we will look at your credit report to assess how you can repay a loan and just what your overall credit history looks like. Landlords and utility companies will look at your credit report when you're applying for rent.
Brett, did you say that landlords are going to look at my credit report too?
Yes. So if you're applying for an apartment or something like that, they'll typically do like a background check and look at your credit history to see if you have a history of late payments, then that might not look so good to them if they're looking for rent from you each month. Utility companies will look at your credit report to see if you have, say, a C&P account and then you didn't pay the balance on the account. That would be reported eventually to collections, and that would go on the collections portion of your credit report. Good payment history from your utilities won't go on there, but they're really looking to see if you have any outstanding collections with other utility companies, assessing your worthiness to repay there. Potential employers are another ones that'll look at your credit report. There's a correlation between low scores and bribery and fraud, so that sort of thing is taken into consideration there.
What jobs are going to look at my credit report?
Banking, things with that you're dealing with sensitive information are more likely to look at your credit report. Insurance companies are another one that will look at your credit report. There's a correlation between low credit scores and the number of claims filed on a policy, so they look at your credit report to take that into account. And the last one that should be really looking at your credit report is you. You want to monitor your credit to make sure that everything's being paid on time. There's no fraudulent activity on your credit report. And if you see fraudulent activity on your credit report, we can help you through that by helping you file disputes or whatnot, or direct you to the correct avenues to fix the situation there. Credit Karma is a good one for monitoring your credit activity. The score that Credit Karma gives you is not going to be 100% accurate to your FICO score. They use a different algorithm called the Vantage score, so there's just slightly different weight put on on-time payment history and late payments and stuff like that. The credit bureaus allow you to pull a credit report annually each year. We recommend every 4 months checking each of the credit bureaus just to make sure that everything on your credit report looks accurate and there's no fraudulent activity going on there.
Thanks, Brett. That is a lot of information on just credit scores and credit reports. And I had no idea all those people would be looking at a credit report. I knew the lender piece, but I guess didn't realize that insurance companies really cared. I know that my mother will tell you that I'm a horrible driver. Obviously, my credit score and my driving ability don't really go hand in hand. Thank you so much. Well, in next edition of TealTalk, we're going to continue the credit train, and we're going to talk about how the credit score is broken down, what percentages are on what, and things like that.
If you have any questions about credit reports or your own personal credit and would like to talk to us about that, you can email us at info@newdimensionsfcu.com. Again, that is info@newdimensionsfcu.com. See you guys next time on TealTalk.